Hello and welcome to another Warnocast. Today, Division 1 of the SD League with Jeremy, also known as ZXCVster, against Axis. The first map will be Mount River. We have the bands of Airport, Kreide and Black Forest from Jeremy, and Izura surrounded at Omen were banned by Axis. And the first division that were picked are DIVMOB against 101st Airborne, which will be quite interesting on the map Mount River. And the second map at the end was Vertigo, where 7th Panzer was picked first by Axis and the counterpick 20th Pancerna by Jeremy. Let's take a look at the decks of the two players. In the first division, DIVMOB by Jeremy, we can see in the logistic tabs that he has 2 cards of CVs and 2 supply trucks, while in the infantry tab we can see 1 more command unit, double Milan cards, one with the airborne trait, and the Paracommando with 8 men for some early pressure. Actually, there's a third card of Milan. Didn't see that before. And Gendarmes, the military police that comes with the box vehicle that also has military police and smoke launcher traits. So that's interesting. Fusilier, there's some 9-man squads that can also help out. Pioneers and 2 cards of the Provincial, the reservist infantry units with 12 men. And they come with a AIV, infantry fighting vehicle. And artillery, we can see 2 203mm artillery pieces with upwetting, the short range howitzer with a lot of damage. Tank tab, as expected from this division, 1 Milan Iltis, and the Striker with the swingfire missiles. And the tanks are the reservist M41 and 47 tanks and the Jagdpanzer 19. In the recon tab, the most notable unit, the Sora SDRA, actually, it's not an O, it's a D, now that I look at it. It's a 10-man Special Forces squad with airborne, with shock, and the, what's it called, false flag trait. It might also matter if other units are around them, but thanks to the airborne and 10-man with those weapons, they can do a lot of pressure in the early game that can help to win some ground for this division. AA tab, the 20mm AA gun, has some upwetting. The other units without veterancy, Mistrals with airborne trait, and the usual iHawk. There are no helicopters for this division. And in the air tab we can see 2 cards of F-16A as air coverage, 2 cluster planes, one with HE/cluster, and the cheap Alpha jets with HE bombs. On the other side, we can see 101st by Axis with supply Chinooks, supply Golds, and a Humvee CP in the logistic tab. A lot of infantry units. We have an aero engineer leader that comes in the Humvee, not in the Blackhawk. He has a flash weapon, 2 aero tows for some ATGM support, the military police as support. We have the aero fire teams in Humvees, aero rifles also in Humvees, more aero rifles with the Dragon, that is the long range ATGM missile of the infantry, the normal aero rifles that have the law that has shorter range, and most notably the aero rifles 84 that come with a Chinook, 30-man squad and shock trait, and the green berets that come with a special force and shock trait 40-man. So this is a very heavy unit that will be a massive change depending on how it's used. In the artillery tab we can see 2 155mm artillery pieces. We can see in the tank tab 2 cards of M1AP, I hope I pronounced that right. Whatever. Humvee tow card, the Abrams CP. Recon tab, most notably Delta with 3 vet and another card of Deltas with 2 vet. So 6 of these airborne special forces in the early game that come with the Humvee Delta. So the Humvee, yeah. Quick fix helicopter and Cavalry Warrior with the Hellfire missiles that can also help out a lot. No sniper. Not sure if that will even matter. No GSR radio unit. That might also play a role. The Aero Scouts don't have it, but 10 men, so they're better for fighting. AA tab, we can see Aero Stinger, and the pivots actually with double vet and 2 cards. Helicopters, we can see the 3 vet dep, and a lot of Apaches with some little birds. And to protect these helicopters, we can see 2 cards of F-15 Eagles, AA Eagles, to make sure this guys goes to the airborne division. On our first map, Mount River, we can see, well, first of all, that actually that isn't Axel. I thought Axel was complaining about the DIVMOB pick, but actually the message is by Jeremy. So the one who picked DIVMOB is complaining about DIVMOB, apparently. I didn't realize that when I looked at the screen before. Well, let's look at the deployment first. We have a scout in the south for the tower. We have a leader, AMX-13, that will go to the zone, and an AA unit to protect the scout. But it's just a 4-man scout reservist, so with just an 11-pen rocket launcher, that might be an easy location to break for his opponent. We can see a lot of units that are spreading out, mostly to the north. Let's check the infantry units for the north. It's a AA that's splitting. Tanks go to both to the north as well. And the CV will go to the north as well. Maybe the airborne units will go to the south. Yeah, so this is a pack that will go to the south to secure this area. We have a scout together with an ATGM and an AA unit. I'm not sure which one. It's a scout that goes to the building in the front. The infantry units will try to go all the way to the zone, and the vehicle will try to retreat, and the scouting vehicle to the forest line. While in the north, we can see some more AA units, the Mistrals with the airbornes, against the early push with helicopters from Warno 1st. We can see scout infantry with a Unimog that has Milan, and the Scorpion as well. So a lot of focus on this area in the north, and a bunch of infantry AA units, but also the ground 20mm guns to protect all these units from the early helicopter push of Warno 1st. If we check what the red side is actually doing, there are a lot of helicopters, but they're actually going to the south. So the location that has the lightest defense will get pushed the hardest, apparently. Humvee CP also going to the south, and AAPs to protect those helicopters will also get to the south. And we can already see by the deployment that he wants to push forward, so it's not just defensive. And for the north, we can see a very defensive setup down here, so the center won't get pushed by Warno 1st, which surprises me. I really liked it when I saw people pushing X-Ray with helicopter, with the Green Berets, and the leader in a helicopter to get an early point lead. Maybe it's not as effective against DIVMOB, but usually that's what I think, or what seemed very powerful to me in a lot of matchups. We can see the rest of the units going up north, and one of the Delta units deploying up here in the north. I'm not sure if that is the nicest location for them. One, because of their range, like a Dragon unit might have the better positioning there, as well as if there's no unit moving close in, then you have a Special Forces airborne unit that's just standing around doing nothing. But just as my personal take. So yeah, we will have an early push in this house from the red side, and blue will try to secure the north. Let's see if that actually works out the way they want to, and how that develops in the later game. Let's restart the map. It will be interesting to see if we have more AA units in the skies, because it felt to me as if there's rather little investment in points from the red side. So I expected an early plane. So far nothing, so maybe the units are just more expensive than I expected. Delta's first one at the front line. First buy, apparently, an M1 AP. So since it's a really early buy, before the next tick, I guess that Axis had saved up the points to see if there's an early plan from the other side to protect his helicopters, but didn't invest his points yet. And since he didn't see any planes, he bought the Abrams instead, which is interesting. We don't see that as often in Division 4, that people save up their points. And the scout in the Iltis gets destroyed. So that will make the push in the south more likely. But now we have an F-16A in the skies together with a 20mm gun. So the little bird's under fire. First Eagle tries to get the F-16. No luck so far, but the little birds got their A ground unit. Both planes have to get outside, so now the CV has to retreat. And together with a quick fake as a spotting scout, if the little birds have enough ammo, it's likely to get destroyed. Meanwhile, in the north, the deltas are pushing further down, so they were just against a quick push, and now they're going in an area that's more likely to become battlefield. One of the little birds gets taken out by the leader, by the MX-13, but the leader eventually dies, which means current point tick for the red side. One of the AA units goes down. There aren't that many AA units. Like in this area, I can see none at all at the moment. Oh, never mind. There's pivots that's hiding behind the goat. A single Humvee tow holding this entire front line. But the more likeliest scenario is a battle up here in the north. The CV in the south does move to the zone, so it will get captured by the red side, while technically the blue side has control in the center and can take points that way. M41 destroyed. I'm not sure if that was a Humvee or... I think that was a Humvee. It was a rocket, but it's always the question, where did that rocket come from? Aero rifles with dragons fighting, and now get some support by the pivot. Humvee CP doesn't have any weapons, so it can't help. Provinciers. Those are the reservist units without veterancy, so, well, obviously as reservist units, but the point is they get stressed out very quickly and aren't very combat efficient anymore. 22% accuracy. I think that was even by static. On the move, 0% accuracy. That's not very much. That's a little bit less than a little bit. It's absolutely nothing. Scorpion fights against the Humvee tow and gets the victory. It does have the 10-pan gun, so that can do a lot of damage against lightly armored forces. Humvee Delta destroyed, but now Alpha Jets, triple HE bombers coming in. One from the Delta, one for aero rifles. Delta is destroyed. Aero rifles heavily damaged. We also had a Provencher destroyed and an Alpha Jet. One of them goes down, but those are the very cheap ones. And now we see the military forces, like the military police in the box, the gendarmes coming in to help the reservist units so that they don't get stressed out as much and as high. Abrams under fire by the Milan, not taking damage, but still with an F-16 now coming in a bit in danger, has to retreat. Pivots almost out of ammo, so that might also play a role if the push continues. And the center, very defensive positioning, and in the south we can see that some units were sent to help. You can see the quick fix actually got destroyed, and Scorpion goes down. So the red side building up some more defenses here. Scorpion might be annoying from the north. If he can get the shot, it doesn't get the shot out in time. So next Scorpion goes down. in the north. He tries to take more ground, but I think the leader is not here anymore. There's a leader from the center. Like, he went down to the middle, took the zone, and is now going back up to take the next zone over there, if he can. Bit of damage done by the bomber, but so far no kills. Another little bird got destroyed in the north. I assume by the 20mm gun. And the transport gets destroyed. The bird was already outside, but is now under threat by the Milan 2. It's now ready to fire again. I guess it doesn't have a line of sight because of the forest. That's a bit... It did shoot at the transport before, so I expect that it should be able to kill it, but never mind. Another little bird got destroyed by the F-16, but now the Eagle comes in. And it did less damage, but the F-16 is sent out of the combat. Another rocket flies after it, but no hit so far. And the plane makes it out alive. F-15 Eagle retreats as well. We have 250 points advantage for the red side at the moment. But the blue side does have some ground over here. Well, I guess there are enough units to hold the line, but the CV will make it in and at least contest the zone for the time being. While in the south the battle continues. One of the plane, an Alpha jet, goes down. But again, those are just the cheap planes. It's a bit of back and forth in the north and south. The Tau 2 actually moving through a dangerous area. Now that the Unimogs with weapons are over here. And is destroyed in transport. So that's very annoying. But that's what you pay as a price when you give up the middle, the center, that units can rotate south from this position and threaten the reinforcement road. And a lot of M41 tanks now coming for the south, so it seems to me as if Jeremy wants to push this zone. While in the north, this leader retreated. He did get the zone for a moment, but he has not enough units over here to really secure it. So it was smart to retreat with the leader. Pivots, damaging the units, but not killing them so far. Now it gets a kill finally. But yeah, there are not enough units anymore for the red side to really hold the zone. So this zone is likely to get recaptured in a moment. Maybe the Humvee should retreat further into the forest. F-16 in the skies again. And we can see a sneaky helicopter trying to go through the north. I'm not sure if the F-16 will be able to see that, but it's currently fighting against the Eagle, gets some damage, has to go out. Now the bomber comes in, but the F-15 is still in the air, so it might get the hit on the bomber. It does get a hit. Does it get a kill? Does get a kill. And the Mistral not enough to damage the F-15, so the Eagle can make it out alive. Aero rifles still moving through the north. And the tanks in the south actually pushing forward. So now the back zone of the red forces in danger. And that looks very scary. Like, the blue forces are getting a lot of ground. Once the zone is captured, they will get the point take. And it doesn't look very convincing in the north as well. Maybe that Aero Rifles team can make a difference if they kill a lot of units when they are brought for reinforcements. But apart from that, I would say Jeremy in a comfortable position to take a lead in the next minutes. Actually, the tank's going to the north now. So instead of taking the back zone, he wants to use the combination of his units in a concave to push up north, which is also a valid tactic. Especially since he doesn't know how many units there are, and if he's just driving into his death. And by combining his units, he has a big advantage in the quantity. Amvito does get a shot off at the Iltis, but they get unloaded in time and the rocket misses. Not that much of an effect. Air rifles. I'm not sure if that's a bit dangerous to go this far towards the road. If a plane comes in, it might be able to see and destroy it in time. But so far he seems to be lucky with it. Zone in the south, now getting catch-up. We just see a build-up of units up in the north. Now Ihawks coming in to really secure the skies. It's a relatively tight map, so long-range AA like this can really close the skies for any play in the air. More AA on the ground as well for the red side. And we can see one of the Apache helicopters. I don't think there were any Apaches or very few so far. I know we had a bunch of little birds in the early game, but now the bigger brother, the Apache, starting to wreak havoc, but not as efficient against these light tanks because they are bigger in quantity than armor, so each kill is not as valuable. But we can see they just die very quickly to the Abrams, the Dragons, the Apache, and there isn't a push on the other side at the same time, so maybe a missed opportunity. So a lot of blue units now dying. The Chinook, I assume it was the Chinook of the air rifles, got destroyed while trying to go back. Abrams has to smoke off. The Apache had to go back for resupplies and repairs, and the supply helicopter is already on the way. We can see that the south is getting reinforced. Double MP patrol. So no ATGM, but still a decent defense. And the Humvee CP now tries to get into the corner, but the Ultra CP, a PC, is still around, so the zone won't get captured. And the scout will probably be able to handle this quickly. Aero rifles dealing a lot of damage, but I don't think they got any kills. Maybe we can see some burning wrecks, but doesn't seem like it. Just holes on the street. So that didn't work out quite as well as Axis would have hoped. Yeah, the Humvee doesn't even make it into the zone and has to fall back. Apache being repaired. So we are now in a situation where the red side has to push, and it seems very difficult to really find a location where they can. A lot of units now in the north. So the bomber actually is sent to destroy the Humvee, so that won't be a problem any longer. And it feels a bit like Jeremy with his DIVMOB wants to push more and get more points, even though he is already at a +2. So he doesn't want to go into the late game against all of these Abrams. And actually we can see the first artillery pieces in the back for Axis together with the CP to give them an upwetting. More aero rifles coming in, it's reinforcements. And the artillery, they are going for actually in the south for these units in the tower. Maybe he doesn't know that many units, but like he can't see that many units, but it feels like an area where he isn't going to push soon anyway, so it's not really a vital kill to get a zone. But maybe it will matter in the long run. We'll have to see. The Dragons, the rockets, ATGMs, of their rifles, doing a good job against these M41s and the M47. pivots from the side, but they get destroyed. But the sheep tanks falling very quickly. Abrams from the side. So that doesn't seem like a very promising push. I'm wondering if the box is still around, the military police vehicle. That would be very nice to have in such a push to support the reservist units. Actually, F-16 and F-15 AA planes in the skies going down, since we have so many AA units now on the battlefield. Not that easy to get killed with plane anymore. You can see a little bit of a push in the middle, most likely just to test the borders, to see how many units there are. Alpha Jet tries to get the Abrams, which doesn't move directly into the bombs. Wow, that was so close, just 1 HP. The cluster plane going down, while the Alpha Jet does make it out alive. And the Abrams. It can get resupplied, but it will be out of combat for a while, even if it does survive. Oh, that rocket finding a target? No. Out of line of sight. With the IFVs destroyed, artillery continues to fire. That's very nice. We have a mortar on the other side. The AMX-13 modified. And the push in the north continues. While the south is pretty passive and defensive. Milan 2 out of rockets. And Apache gets another kill. Yeah, the kill feed will probably be very much in favor of Axis on the red side. But he does have some more expensive units, so it's to be expected that the DIVMOB will take more losses. I guess rather than a kill ratio, it would be interesting to see points destroyed for each side and how the ratio of points destroyed is. F-16 destroyed by the Eagle. A lot of blue units dying again, but the Apache was destroyed before the plane, the F-16 of the blue side, went down. And we can see another attempt of a sneaky play by Axis. Tries to go around from the north into India. I believe it can work out. The Eyehawks probably not in range. And they need the vision, obviously. I usually tell myself, yeah, these sneaky plays, oh, they're so nice. I want to do them more myself. But then during the match, there's so many other things I focus on that I can't remember to do it. And they aren't really working out very often, so it's not really a smart play a lot of the time anyway. But it's always nice when it works. And that's the important part, that you have your fun. Well, infantry units unloaded very far forward, but I believe they will be able to get out and go into battle. More quick tanks just reinforcing the area, but the Abrams immediately gets a hit on the M47. And the Abrams very low on HP, but it can go back, can get repaired by the supply goat. Now the fire teams and the MP with pushing forward. There's still the 20mm guns, so they will be annoying. The MX leader also does some damage. And now a lot of infantry units as support by the blue side. And the CV will make it into the zone, stop the point tick. And if it gets the capture, can actually get a point tick for the red side again. A lot of blue units dying. But, well, the question will be, will the MX leader go back or will a new leader come in? So far, no reaction. Well, there's an attack beacon, so he definitely knows that the leader is in that building. We have an artillery piece. And the F-16 bomber will likely get the kill. Oh no, actually, the leader has so many HP that it survives. And the F-15 gets the kill on the plane. Will be interesting. Oh no, he moves back. I thought maybe he can hold this supply road and the artillery will get killed that way. But the leader goes one way, the artillery goes the other way, so no kills for today. Abrams surviving another round of attacks. Another Abrams pretty damaged. Apaches in the back. Oh, and the Ihawks under fire now. Trying to move away. And it seems like they will make it out alive. But, wow, very close. And while they're on transport, the Eagle was able to secure the sky in this area. And maybe the leader will get into the Chinook and just fly away. DIVMOB didn't go to the zone because he didn't know where the leader is at that moment. So point tick still at +2, around 700 points to 400. And now actually counter battery, so the 155mm gun under pressure. The other one going away, but transport and artillery on the side destroyed. The other artillery piece does not have a transport either anymore. So a bit of a stalemate now. I'm wondering what the best location for an attack by the red side would be. Maybe in the center actually, because he can use his Apaches over the water and shoot from there. And the ground AA might not be able to shoot it very well. And if there's tank support to shoot at the Mistral and other units in the buildings, it might work out. There aren't that many ATGMs protecting the center. There's a Milan 1 from here. And the F-16 actually diving in, gets the Apache, and probably by the F-15 as well, or F-16. The Chinook with the leader was destroyed. So it didn't fly towards his own units, but tried to go into the back. And that didn't work out. Nothing special going on in the south. We can see the Milan 1 starting to fire at the transports, but they unloaded and are now going back. So this push in the south does happen. Apache taken out by the F-16. So that's not working out as Axis wanted. Not enough AA around his important helicopter. We still have a quick fix over here. I'm not seeing another Apache at the moment. You can see a leader that goes towards the center, so definitely the area where Axis wants to push. And another batch of blue units going down. But pivots now under fire by the artillery. Delta holding the north. Thanks to the sniper rifle, able to shoot pretty far. I'm not sure if they will really be able to kill the Unimog anytime soon though. But the Abrams comes to help. And that solves the problem. And 4 rockets immediately flying towards the Abrams and stunning it down, stressing it out. And getting a side shot to kill it. So that wasn't the worst trade. That was a very horrible trade. But maybe he was distracted by the action in the center. Jagdpanzer getting destroyed. Box has to smoke off, but is moving forward. So he will try to take the battle. Humvee most likely. Well, it doesn't get the kill because Abrams was faster. Pivots giving some support. F-15 and F-16 in the sky to protect their units, but the Alpha Jet has a different plan and wants to get a kill on the aero scouts. Humvee tow might get a kill on the gendarmes in transport, but no hit. Aero scouts able to move in time, not taking any damage. And both planes going back. Just the Milan 1 got destroyed in the north actually. And a lot of reinforcements now from the center. So Jeremy has realized the threat that is now moving in for the center. 3 Provincial infantry units, the Iltis Milan and the Jagdpanzer, followed by a tank and more infantry units. So just a spam of units for the red side. The south still secure, no movement. And as the push in the center takes place, the north gets stale. No movement anymore. Instead some rotation up to the center. Cluster plane got immediately hit and is now taken down. It was maybe going in for the M1 AP. Aero Tau 2 helping out, getting a kill on an M47. Artillery able to hit 2 Provincials. But a lot of units on the blue side once again for DIVMOB. Always crazy to play against these numbers, just the sheer quantity of units. But DIVMOB eventually runs out of steam, so if you can get an out of kills, they can't keep this going forever. And if you can repair your units, you will eventually have more value on the battlefield. One of the aero fire teams now destroyed, so the zone is getting more and more under the control of the blue side again. F-16 gets a kill on the DAB, the 3-Vet helicopter, and makes it out alive. So that is a nice catch. We have a Delta Scout in the zone still. But it's now under fire by the 20mm gun. The engine destroyed. Does it even have an engine? I'm not so sure about that. Little bird dealing a lot of damage, but now the AP units able to fire some shots at it. The CV already en route to get into the zone. It's almost 1000 point to 600. So I think the blue side will continue to be in the lead point-wise. At least by the amount of units, he should be able to secure the center again. The A gun does get destroyed. The IHawks out of ammo. Let me check. Yeah, both out of ammo. The artillery still has some shells left. The last Alpha Jet tries to get the Abrams, which does move forward to dodge the bombs. And the Alpha Jet goes down without getting a kill. Abrams on the other side can probably destroy both of these M55s. There's enough time. Provincial not close enough to help with the anti-tank launcher, anti-tank rocket launcher. So both AA pieces down, and still a bunch of units from the red side that might be able to help securing this area. But at the moment, the blue side in the advantage. HSPC about to go into the zone. And the 2 Unimogs from the, well, the center of the south now going up to support the battle around X-Ray. Supply Chinook actually under fire by artillery and is destroyed before it can get off the ground. F-16 flies over the units of his opponent. That's always dangerous, but not enough AA to punish them. The Delta in the center also get destroyed, so now the control again in the hand of the blue player, of Jeremy. Is there a supply truck coming in for the IHawks? Yes. At least for one of them for now. We can see a lot of empty supply trucks going back. So that will give a bunch of points back to the blue player. That might be another stimulation in his unit count. And actually the DEP went around and shot at the blue units from their own side. But if he goes too far to the south, he will get destroyed, and yeah, got caught. And actually the Iltis CP got destroyed. So the Aero Engineer leader able to secure the zone again. Aero Rifle Dragon will probably not get a kill on units in transport, but able to help out the leader. And the +2 continues. So it's 1000 to 700 points now. The leader, let's see, that's the one from the north. Is that one? There's the MX-30 went to the back zone because of the earlier sneak play by Axis. So there's probably a new leader on the way, but not yet. So X-Ray will continue to stay in the hands of the red player for a while, and that might close the gap in the points. So that's a big threat. There are actually two... Oh, that's not a leader. I was going to say there are two leaders for the red player, but the Green Berets are special forces, not leader. And actually two Green Berets now going to the center zone to secure it. And those units are very deadly. They are supposed to 3-vet? 3-vet, yeah. So that will help out a lot in this battle for X-Ray, while nothing happens in the north. One of the Ihawks has ammo now. Milan 1, only one rocket left. Mortars, I'm not sure if I've even seen them get fired once in this game. I don't know. Milan 2, one rocket left. It fires against an Abrams. Currently not spotted to get shot at by the Abrams. Thanks to the Green Berets, X-Ray will get secured. A lot of JPKs now coming in. F-16 got the Chinook. But yeah, I think the red forces will be able to secure the center now, at least for a while. And that is exactly what Axis needed. And MX-13 modified mortar does fire some smoke for the northern position. So apparently Jeremy is getting a bit troubled by this point tick and wants to take a zone, or at least contest it. And that will prove to be rather difficult. There aren't that many units. But there aren't that many units on the red side either, so at least for a while that might work out. But that's pretty much a sign that he accepted that he lost X-Ray, and instead of trying to fight over this zone, he wants to try and get points in the other zone. And the Chinook now checks for AA in this area. Actually double infantry commander coming in. Chinook wasting some Ihawk missiles. And in the north, pivots destroying the 20mm gun, hero rifles, killing the pointers, and the leader also went down, so that push failed completely. Artillery trying to get the Green Berets, but they are not in the tower. F-15 not having any opponents at the moment. But a clear advantage at the moment for the red side, which looked very different a few minutes ago. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, DIVMOB eventually running out of steam. Now we have a bunch of Abrams working together and they can pick off the units of DIVMOB very quickly. That will result in a rather unfair fight. Remorat's now in smoke, just waiting for an opponent to come closer. There's still a leader in the forest, but it's not brave enough to move forward at the moment. It's probably waiting for this bunch of infantry units that will get rushed to the zone and the leader behind them. So the push in the south with the helicopters early in the game worked out, got a bunch of points for the red side, but was eventually pushed back. And then they fought mostly about the north until Axis decided, well, fuck that, I go to the center and was able to take X-Ray and is now, and in a second, now even, and now more than 100 points above. So if the game would end right now, Axis would win with a point lead of more than 100 points, so not a draw, but a victory. Very impressive how he managed to deal with this wave of units from the DIVMOB, and that's a desperation move, just rushing in. Remorat's likely to get the kill. Not immediately, not in transport. Oh no, the leader's outside of the zone. Double Green Berets waiting for it. And just a lot of blue units dying. And even the zone in the north now getting, well, probably even captured, not just contested. Oh no, never mind, there's a leader. I'm just blind. But it does go down, so the zone in the north will also get captured. That's a GG, I think. That was the last hope. Maybe together with this provincial commander. But that's also now dying. And that should be the game. No leader close enough, with just 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. GG. Axis takes the first map. Minor victory. Kill ratio 1.4. So it's not as high as I expected from this matchup, but still relatively high. If we look at the kill score list, we can see the 20mm. They did work out very well. As usual with these AA guns that can support the infantry, we see a lot of kills from that. We can see the artillery worked out also very well for Jeremy, while on the other side, the little bird for the early push, the Delta got a bunch of kills. Aerial rifles with the Dragon. Like this long-range ATGM rocket launcher for the infantry units against these sheep tanks with little armor, very effective. Pivots, 20mm guns, also destroying cluster plane, Alpha Jet, a bunch of infantry units. Very efficient. The Abrams stayed alive for a long time, so that's probably the one in the north. Maybe even the one retreating to the center, getting a bunch of kills. Another Abrams, just one-shotting all of these cheap tanks and making it a very clear match in the end. Artillery also getting a bunch of kills. Another Abrams, you can just see this long kill list of all these units. That just tells a story. But that's to be expected when fighting against this division. But very impressive Cavalry Warrior. I'm not even sure if I saw it, but yeah, killed. I assume it went to the back line and destroyed all of these units in transport. Very nice catch. And another Cavalry Warrior. Getting just one unit. It's pretty far down in the kill feed, so maybe that was towards the end, while I was focusing on the leader in the zones in the center and north. So yeah, that was just the first map. We still have a second map, which will be Vertigo. And before we go into the map, let's check the division played by both players. For Jeremy, the division for the second map is 20th Pancerna. We can see in the air tab, don't ask me why I started here instead of the logistic tab this time, no reason whatsoever. The MiG-21 SAA coverage, 145 points. So not the best and most expensive plane, but 4 planes in one card. To protect us HE bomber and the 2 Su-22 bombers for 230 points. So the bombers a lot more expensive than the AA planes. And just one card of Salamandra for the helicopter tab. AA tab, Coup Streller, the SZU and Zur, these two cards with upvetted. And the weekend tab, we can see the normal Zviat scouts, probably pronounced wrong, but who cares. 7-man squad, so they are more of the simple scouts, while we have the 3-vet Honkaroos Roche Specialny combination. Honkaroos with a special forces trait, very fast vehicle, so these units will be able to go far very much, very far. And we also have the GSR radio variation that has just 3 men, so not as good in fighting, but for staying behind and spotting everything for the other units. And the main focus will be the tanks. We have T-55s, T-55AS with a coffin launcher, with a rocket that can fire indirectly at targets. A bunch of T-72s, and the biggest one of them, T-72 M2 Wilk, with 1 additional health point, 17 armor, 18 pen gun, and 2 cards of T-72 Leader, so a bunch of T-72s. I didn't count, but that's a bunch. Artillery tab, we can see the Dana without veterancy 1 card and mortar. While in the infantry tab, BVP1 with ZMAC infantry units, some with SVD, Fagot, and some close combat, Zaperzi. While in the logistic tab, interesting to see double command unit. So these 6 together with the 4 T-72 tank leaders. That means he has 10 leader for this map. That's interesting. We'll have to see if that means he wants to play very aggressive and just sneak a lot of CVs into the zones and contest them all the time, or if that's just for safety. On the other side, we can see 7th Panzer by axis in the logistic tab, 1 card of SPV leader units and 2 cards of supply units, while the infantry tab also very similar actually to the 20th Pancerna, with the SPV, Mordschützen, BMP1, Mordschützen, with SVD as well, Pioneer, and the Concourse. So a bit less than 20th Pancerna, but still rather similar in the type of the units. But they come with a Resolute trait, this division, so they're a bit more combat efficient. We can see double multiple rocket launcher, the MFRV RM70, and no Dana, or in this case 122 and 152mm self-propelled howitzers, just the mortars and the rocket launchers. And most notably in this division, similar to 20th Pancerna, the tank tab, so both tank division, and we can see also more leaders in this division, actually, in this deck, in this case for Axis, with 3 cards of tanks as leaders. So we have 6 tanks and the 3 from the logistic tab, so 9 leader in this deck as well. So a lot of focus on the CVs. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen that yet. And we have the lighter tanks with the T-55s, some Kampfpanzer T-72, but they have only 15 armor and 19 pen gun. And the biggest one in this division, the M1 variation, has the Resolute trait as well. Frontal armor 17 and 90 pen gun. So relatively similar, maybe a small advantage to 20th Pancerna, but at the same time there's a Resolute trait that also helps out. So pretty even, I would assume. In the Scout tab we can see the Spezialaufklärer that has Special Forces, Shock, Airborne and GSR all combined with 6 men in the squad. So just by itself it's stronger than the Roche Specialny, but it doesn't have a Special Forces vehicle with a heavy machine gun on it, so they would still lose a fight with a transport involved if they meet up early. And AA tab, Schilker, 23mm gun as support with veterancy, and double coupe with veterancy as well. So that might help out against the planes. Double AT helicopters, and the air tab we can see 3 cards of AA planes, MiG-21s. They all come with double vet, so that will help out. and just one card of cluster planes, so not much support from these guys in form of bombers, but a lot of AA power in this tab. So the focus definitely will be on the tanks. On our second map, Vertigo, we can see on the left side in blue again ZXCVster. Difficult name, that's why I call him Jeremy. And on the red side, Highlander, also known as Axis, who is also another name on Discord. So again, one of these people where it's relatively confusing with so many names that I'm not sure what even to call him. I hope Axis is okay. And we can see a message by Jeremy: if I get clapped this game, I am going to be very upset. While on the other side, a message by Axis: pancake time. So I assume he will attack both flanks. We'll have to see. But let's start with the deployment for the blue side. We can see Hunkaroo's scouts going for the center and the south, going through the forest, and one helicopter going straight to Boris. While we can see a bunch of units going to the south, going straight towards Boris, together with the BVP leader. That is first going to the back zone and then to the second zone. A coup for AA together with two, what's this? 23mm gun. We have two Salamanders actually, and the heavy tanks T-72 Wilks. So a lot of early investment for the south, while we can see more Salamander for support in the center with a scouting helicopter, AA gun for the north, but together with the AA gun just two scouts. So the north will not get contested by Jeremy. He has a little bit of investment for the center, but mostly for the south to push through here. And if we check the deployment for the red side, it seems on the first look very similar. Two scouts going for the north. The units over here are all for the center, so triple tanks together with an Aufklärungspanzer. And a helicopter that is going to Anna in the south. We have an early mortar. Oh, that's interesting. And we have a Führungspanzer T-55 AK as leader in the south. And they seem to be going mostly, apart from, that's a mortar that's unloading here, just going straight towards the zone Anna on the side of the blue player. So the blue wants to go to Boris, the red wants to go to Anna, and they will clash in the center between those zones. So that will be probably a very action-heavy first minute, or first minutes. And yeah, will be interesting to see how that plays out, and if Jeremy gets very upset or not. Here we go. I assume there won't be an early plane, which is usually the moment when a plane arrives on the battlefield, when I say that, but based on the amount of units on the ground and in the sky as helicopters, I don't think there are that much points left, if at all. But I mean, those divisions have pretty cheap planes, the 145-point AA planes, especially against such an early helicopter rush might be helpful, but I don't think you really expect that or think that it's worth investing in early AA. The first unit that will meet are the scouting helicopters. Well, actually it's not a scouter, but it's used as a scouting helicopter. The Mi-24 against the Mi-2 US. It is a heavier helicopter. It has more HP and a better gun, so it should win. But yeah, the Salamanders have a different opinion and make it a very clear situation. Is there in the AA unit, I think there was an early coup, wasn't there? Let's see the mix first before we check that. Two Salamanders going down. Was it Salamanders? I think it was Salamanders. The moment I say it, I forgot what it was, even though I read the name a second before that. So the tanks on both sides continue to push forward. MiG gets a bunch of helicopters, but the MiG is shut down. So sadly, this replay again with the bug that you can't see the kill feed. The previous replay did have it. It was an older replay. So I assume these games weren't played directly one after another. And that's why there's a difference in version. The Wilks are in position. And the VVP leader actually moving towards the north. That's interesting. And the Wilks do get shot at first. Oh, I thought it would be the other way around. And the T-55s able to put a lot of pressure in getting one kill. VVP not getting shot yet. Ah, that was the group that I saw in the early game. In the deployment. But now the T-55s chasing after the Wilk. They have the superiority in numbers, so most likely will get the kill. T-72 on the back foot. And now even an upbatted T-55 thanks to the Führungspanzer. And will get the kill. So an early victory for the red side, while another plane goes down. So the early mortar was for the smoke play to support the tanks that are now in the zone. And that could be a very quick decision for this map. However, the blue leader will actually get the northern zone, so together with the Spezialny that secured it against the scouts from the red side, it means that he will be able to stop the point tick by taking advantage in the north. T-55's not able to secure the center position. And now the blue side has to play defensive in the south so that it doesn't give up even more points and even another zone. The T-72 does get the first shot. The T-55 tries to get out of vision. And the leader tank will actually get into the zone. T-72 heavily damaged. Malyutka goes down before the rocket can hit. T-72 also going down, and the other Malyutka. So leader tank will be able to make it into the zone. Just the quantity of units too much. And more are on the way. PvP under fire will likely go down before another rocket can hit. No, not down yet. And the Fagot at least gets one kill, since the way of traveling for the rocket was relatively short. Couldn't get killed fast enough. Leader tank is damaged, but it will get the zone. And the reinforcements going this road are relatively close to danger, so that might cause some troubles now. But the red forces do fall back, happy with what they gained. It feels a bit bad to just give up the position, but he doesn't have any infantry units to really secure it. And you don't want to throw away your units. So supply truck coming in to heal them up to full HP first. Ankarus taken out by the T-55s. I think that was the plane that was destroyed earlier. And we have more T-55s. And the Me helicopter actually will be able to figure out that there are no units inside of the zone. I was about to say it might take a while for Jeremy to realize that he can just push into the zone. But thanks to the helicopter, that won't be as much of an issue. Spezialny is still holding the center. Will be interesting to see. Those tanks are not on a hunt command, but on a fast movement. So with 2 rockets left, that might be dangerous for them. First rocket gets a side shot. A lot of damage on the T-55. It has 5 armor on the side. And Axel is not realizing yet what has happened. Well, at the very least, the Spezialny is almost out of ammo for the rocket launcher. New leader for the south on the way, but it will take a while. We are to +4 at the moment. Almost 450 points by now. 80 GMs, the Concourse missiles coming in for the south. So apparently Axis wants to take the point lead with the capturing of this back zone, and now wants to stay defensive with 80 GMs and just win by the point that he gained in the early game. Because if you would plan to pressure the zone again or hold it with infantry units, you wouldn't be investing into the 80 gems, I assume. And now that the Spezialny was destroyed, the tanks in the center actually can push forward and control even more ground. Very nicely done. To add some additional pressure and have an additional angle of attack. I'm not sure about moving directly this way. Malyutka able to find a target. We'll get at least one kill, I assume. Oh, just a stun. So for the time being, no kills. While on the other side, T-72 stunned and damaged. And the 5 tank will be able to make it past the Malyutka, and the Malyutka is smoked off. The cube finds a target, but not a kill. Double rockets coming in. The leader tank is destroyed, so that's a significant unit. But as mentioned, Axis has 9 leader, the blue side 10 in total. Not anymore, but in the beginning. So CVs shouldn't be as much of an issue. The double concourse firing at the T-55 and getting a kill. While the T-72 has to fall back. It is getting shot at by double concourse. Down to 2 HP and destroyed. A lot of tanks lost for the blue side, for Jeremy. And those are missing now, but he can push. Even now that there's some infantry units as meat shield. But the concourse almost out of rockets. I think more supply trucks are needed for the south. Spezialaufklärer in the open. Gets shot at by the T-72, but the T-72 in return is in range of the tanks from the other side. Concourse now out of rockets. We do have a big supply truck coming in. We don't have an artillery for the blue side yet. While the red side still has some mortar somewhere. Unless a plane destroyed it, but I missed that if it happened. We actually have a leader tank coming in for the center, like the big town in the north of the center. So Axis isn't happy with just staying defensive in the south. He wants to take the zones in the north as well. So that will be interesting to see. And the tanks in the center actually pushing forward. They got the Malyutka that was here. They got the AA gun. And, never mind, it wasn't an AA gun, but they destroyed something. And the T-55 might be able to find the coup as well if it continues to push. But now there's actually a double VAT T-55 on the other side as well. But no vision anymore. Forrest able to hide the tank. So the coup's still in danger. Depending on... oh, it moves backwards into the planes of his opponent. HE bomber gets the AA gun and damage on the Aufklärungspanzer. BVP out of missiles. While the Concourse... well, they're also out of missiles. Coup does survive thanks to the reinforcements. Concourse not able to shoot in this direction, so that's actually bad building. It helps against the south, but not against the push from this side. And now it's hiding behind the building. That's a nice move. If it goes now back into the house, maybe a bit too early. Yeah, go back out. If he would have waited a bit longer, that could have been awesome. But it seems like Jeremy didn't notice. His tanks continue to move forward, but they are in a bit of a dangerous position. They could get shot on from multiple sides now. Some damage done, but not a kill. And the Conquerors now having ammo again. They're shooting toward the north cluster plane and the MiG AA coming in. Conquerors. Double rockets going at the T-72, almost killing it and in a stunt. Tanks not fully repaired yet for access. Opening Panzer also not geared up. One of the T-72s far in the back. I'm not sure what's doing over there. Maybe just to make sure that nothing comes from the south. But even then it's a bit useless at the moment. The blob in the north getting built up, maybe missing an AA unit. So that some helicopters or planes can't come in and destroy it. At least not easily. We do have a T-72 leader that might try to get into the zone, but well, the Conquerors are still around, so that's not really an attempt you would expect to succeed. Rockets again, and leader destroyed. So yeah, just sending a tank forward into ATGMs you knew about from earlier without any IFVs and infantry units in front. Not working out. T-55 also going down. BVP not able to find a kill. The Modschützen trying to take out the Roche Spezialny. Holkeru still being annoying. One of the tanks might be helpful, but does go down. Now the mortar trying to annoy the BVP and Malutka. HE bomber in the wrong house. Well, not in the wrong house, but throwing the bombs at the wrong house. And now a bit of a push in the big town, while in the skies the coup was destroyed by the cluster plane. The MiG going back. And there isn't that much left from the blue side. There's one single tank in the center that is most likely going to get destroyed now. If the other T-72 can find a shot. That probably doesn't have vision anymore. But yeah, overall, I would still give the advantage to the red side, just in the quantity of units and the positioning. 742 points, and the zone in the north will get captured now. There's still a Roche Spezialny, and the BVP's moving around. It does shoot at the SPV first though. So the Führungspanzer does survive. Does a lot of damage on the BVP and could technically go back into the zone and try to capture it. But by neutralizing the zone you already get a +1 point, and the leader from the north has to rotate back into it, but that will take a while. Smoke continues to fall to protect the unit from ATGMs. Another leader coming in. So I assume, because there is no leader over here anymore, that he wants to make sure that he can recapture or contest the zone. Should a blue leader try to get in. SPW shooting at the ZMAC, but losing the battle. So the T-55 has to retreat now. Modschützen fighting the Roche Spezialny that has been there from the start of the game. And I think now it will go down. But the Honkaroos was already destroyed. And with that, the Führungspanzer can get into the zone while the BVP has rotated around, so nothing to contest in the north. So very well played by Axis, that he pressures both zones at the same time basically, while still being quite efficient in the south. Cluster plane is getting out alive. A bit of a lack of ground AA units for the red side. That might be his biggest weakness at the moment. That he's relying on the cheap MiG planes for the AA. There's one of the Shilkers to give some support. But We can see here, HE bomber just flies in, does a lot of damage on the T-55 and gets out alive. Another HE bomber, not finding a target yet. Probably lost line of sight. And we have a ZXCVster and the 23mm gun coming in for the north now. But so Spezialny is out of rockets for the RPG, so dies to the Führungspanzer. And the ZXCVster does not have an AT... Oh, it has actually in this division an anti-tank rocket launcher. Usually the Pioneers in other divisions have just satchel charges and nothing against tanks. But in this case it can actually get the tank. They do have 11 frontal armor, but it's down to 1 HP, so a single damage would be enough to kill it. If it doesn't get the kill, well, never mind, the T-72 ruined my story. I thought the tank would maybe kill the unit in transport, but wasn't there in time. And the T-72 from the south, killing it in one single blow. HE bomber comes in, but not finding any targets. I would like to see more ground AA units for the red side and just something to take the center. The Spezialny GSR might be able to take the ground now. We have the mortar still doing some action. I'm actually not sure where is it shooting. I can't see the line. Maybe around here. Oh, never mind. All the way over here. But yeah, the blob of tanks able to pick off those infantry units while they are in open field. T-72 not in position to contest these units. It is able to shoot at the unit in the forest, however. AT plane comes in, gets the scout. That is annoying that those tanks can't see their targets anymore, perhaps. But we do have the Spezialaufklärer that can help out. But still, we have 3 damage tanks, so resupplies needed. Another damage Aufklärer over here. And also the T-72 over here damaged as well, so a lot of supplies needed to really give the HP back to all units. And HE bomber not needed to get the kill of the unit in the forest. Another MiG coming in, but we have 950 points now for the red side, so he's doing very well in this regard. Doesn't even try to really contest the zone at the moment, holding his units back and keeping them alive. The lack of supplies bothers me, but the investment is going up in the north actually. 1 coup, I like that. But no AA unit for the north, no leader for the north. Or just defensive positioning at the moment. A new leader T-72 board for the south, for the blue side. And the T-72s may be overextending a bit. They do get a shilka, they do a lot of damage, the HE bomber, against those units, so I thought they might go forward to kill the T-72s, which they do now, regardless of the damage they took and stress they took. So the T-72s do fall back. MiG going back, so it will not be around long enough for the coup to matter. At least for now. And the T-72 actually in the center, under fire. And the tank blob is moving forward further. One of the T-72s from the red side damaged first, but the blue tank has to smoke off and fall back. The T-72 Wilk now under fire by multiple tanks, has to smoke off. B-2 US scouting helicopter comes in for some vision. But yeah, so far no real answer for the blue side against this blob of tanks that the red side had for a very long time. Cluster plane likely to get the kill on... never mind. Let's see. Didn't drop the bombs, so won't get the kill. Su-22. Not finding any targets yet. And the coup misses. Mortar once again firing. There's some smoke. AT plane did get a kill. And again, not hit by the coup. But the A-plane is hit and destroyed. And now the SU might get hit as well. Well, the coup is out of ammo actually, so never mind. So all tanks from the red side now heavily damaged. They can still pick off other tanks very quickly, just by their numbers. But we have only 3 tanks at the moment for the blue side. Well, 4 if you count this Vic, and a bunch of air units now coming in. Cluster plane immediately has to go out. HE bomber get 1 kill and 1 heavily damaged, maybe 2. AA plane and another HE bomber, so the lack of ground AA really ruining this for the red side. Another T-55 destroyed, and now the blue tanks just rushing forward. They have the initiative now. First shot is missed, second one as well. So the leader does not get damaged or killed by a lucky side shot or something like that. And now the blue units can push forward, can take the zone. And everything that was built up by Axis kind of in ruins now. He still has a very comfortable point lead and might be able to put on some pressure in the north to make up for the loss of the zone. But he doesn't have it yet, so we have to see if that works out. SPW, a bit of a dangerous position over there. Goes back, but over the road where he is envisioned probably. But the T-72 now starting to fire. Actually, the T-72 leader ran through the zone without capturing it, so he could have a bigger point lead. And he now realizes his mistake and goes back to take the zone. Speziani with GSR on the way. Coup once again missing. But that's what I was afraid of, that just air units are used to destroy this blob, since there's no ground AA. But the AT plane missing the shot. So both T-72s stay alive for the time being. And the Zaperzi not able to get a kill with their 11th penetration rocket launcher. And the SPW leader is on the way to capture the zone in the north, while the T-72 leader is on the way to take the zone in the south. Or at least tries to, but that seems like a dangerous mission. Once again, sending a leader forward without any meat shield in front of it, no infantry units to support. That's usually not how it works. It's always a dangerous form of attack to just send in tanks forward while you're blind and without any meat shield. Supply truck still surviving the attack by the Scot. Survives longer than a lot of other units, it feels like. T-72 got another kill in the forest. But the leader, as I mentioned, in a dangerous position. There's a T-55 leader tank to contest the zone if the T-72 leader of the blue side will go in. But as we can see, it's now getting heavily damaged, has to retreat, and might get destroyed on the way out. But first the infantry unit gets destroyed, the Spezialny with the GSR, and now the leader gets the first shot, but then destroyed. Scott likely to get destroyed next. Oh, the Vilk is the focus of attention at the moment. And the T-72 does go down first, even though the Vilk took a bunch of damage. T-55 leader does not want to take the battle. So a lot of heavy losses on both sides actually. There isn't that much left here when you take away the supply trucks. But the blue side doesn't have that much to push either. But the Vix does stay alive. And if that tank pushes forward, it might get destroyed by the new batch of fresh T-72s. Offering his Panzer bear ram from the back gives some support, but 40 pen gun, yeah, it's immediately destroyed. T-72 goes down, so the blue side does have the speed advantage at the moment. Did the better trades, destroyed a lot of key units from the red side. So all that waiting and building up did pay off. The zone in the north currently under control by the red forces. There's a bit of damage on the red tank, so it does fall back for the time being, but there isn't really that much to kill it at the moment. The Malyutka 60 pen rocket forced it to smoke off, but it won't get the zone for the time being. The T-72s in the forest will pick off any reinforcements, pick off the supply trucks, and now a T-72 from the red side will support the units, and if it gets the first shot at this blue T-72, then it might be able to get the kill. T-55 leader tank helping out, but it is in danger. The Coop very far forward. That's a very dangerous position. But main guns do fire at the other tanks. And another leader tank, but this time a T-72. First blue tank is destroyed. So the red side able to retaliate and secure back the zone. And the area around it. A new leader for the blue side comes in. So he hasn't given up on taking the zone yet. Empty supply trucks. So the tank will not get repaired, and double lane HE bomber attack against infantry unit in the building, so that the ZMOD scouting unit can push forward, and eventually the tank will follow once the zone is secured. SPW has no weapons, and the BMP-1 out of ammo for the rockets, so the zone in the north likely to get captured back by the blue forces eventually. T-72 leader tries to sneak around. The Modschützen out of ammo for the RPGs, so they won't be able to shoot at the Wilk and have to fall back now. But a new batch of Modschützen is on the way. Dangerous, almost getting killed in transport. But now the T-72s firing at the Wilk, together with a rocket by the BMP. The leader tank actually getting under fire by the SU bomber and goes down. So job well done. Quick reaction by Axis to destroy the leader tank. Maybe the plane was originally sent for the Wilk, but then changed target to the leader. So Zapersi under fire on open ground, and the Wilk goes down in the end to the T-72 on the other side. And now the defensive forces can build up again for the red forces. Zone in the north about to get taken back. We do have a Modschützen that will be able to, well, make sure that the blue forces don't just push through and threaten the backlines and the reinforcement road, while the forces on the red side apparently try to push forward themselves. So the ZMOD scouting unit likely to die in a moment. It's currently behind the building. It's now inside the building, and that will be very unhealthy. Staying inside a building for too long, not very healthy. Who would have thought? And the Modschützen in the center actually going down to the AA gun. The T-72 that has been here for minutes, I don't know how long exactly. are finally getting repaired. While the tanks in the center had to smoke off against the SU plane. I almost said SU tank. That would have been... nah, never mind. Oh, and actually it gets the kill on one of the... I think it was a T-72 or was it a T-55? I think a T-72. And another vehicle goes down, but the plane as well. And now the cluster plane from the other side. Stressed out by the coup. The coups on the red side mostly out of... no, completely out of ammo. There are 4 coups without ammo. If that doesn't tell you a story, I don't know what does. The units in red just pushing for very aggressive play. And they will likely get the kill against the T-72. Once the next shot comes out, yep, they managed to get the hit before the smoke comes out. And T-55 leader, if it goes through the forest, I think it will be able to get the zone. Oh, the HE bomber doing a bunch of damage, shaking the screen. T-72 over here will get side shots probably on the tanks, so pushing that far forward, not a smart move. But for the time being he will get the kill, not the kill on the zone, the capture on the zone. The BVPs do fall back, waiting for the tanks to secure the zone first. And we do have more AA units for the red side. Instead of resupplying his groups, he just buys new AA pieces. The Botschützen in the north were destroyed, but the T-72 is now securing this road. And a 23mm gun also securing this area. It wouldn't be enough for to hold it for a longer time if there's really a push of these units from the blue side. So that could matter in the future. But we only have 6 minutes left, so the future isn't even that long. Not that far away. On the blue side also the coup out of ammo. What's with this coups out of ammo everywhere? And hasn't this fire been around for most of the game as well? Like these flashing spots. Well, one of the SUs now under fire by one of the coups that got resupplied, but supply truck already out of supplies. And the coups down to 2 rockets, but they all got resupplied now, so yeah, that will help out to protect the tanks, at least from the planes. First T-72 does get damaged. Has to smoke, well, I'm not sure if it had to smoke off, but it did smoke off. Definitely. And now quadruple cube rockets just flying at the SU, and yeah, that's looks a bit different now with all of these cubes full of ammo. One of the tanks on the red side, I think, went down. One of the transport. So with only 5 minutes left, the blue side does feel the need to push and just sends this unit forward. BVP leader likely to go down in a moment. There it goes down. But there's still one more, so he might be able to take this zone in the south. There is actually no red CV unit over here at the moment, so I hope one is coming. Very good. Shooting from the center at the units in the forest. The SPV does get the kill, but there's a lot of units now for the blue side pushing in. So he will get the take, and that alone might be enough to help him. There's still a chance for the red forces, but he has to hold off this attack, and he has to do so quickly. But he is out of tanks once this T-72 is destroyed, and the SPW will probably get killed before making it into the zone. He realizes and falls back with the unit. Botschützen have to go through the forest first. I think that was enough. That might be able to win the map for Jeremy. After a very close match on the first map, Mount River, where Axis won pretty much late in the game. This could be the late game changer for the blue side. And after waiting all this time and some bad trades, at the end he found the right moment to push, the right angle. SU does not get destroyed, doesn't get the kill either. But well, I mean, it doesn't matter if the planes are destroyed now, because 3 minutes left, they wouldn't be able to get back into the battle anyway. Do go down without getting a kill though. But there are not enough tanks on the red side at the moment to push forward. There's a new one coming in. The Modschützen will get destroyed in the building. So a very clear advantage on the ground for the blue units in the south right now. Nothing pushing through the center or in the north. Some pioneers with 2.5 minutes in the match left, sending some pioneers in the big town. I'm not sure if that's going to change anything. The leader is still around. Tries to just run in now. Another one of these desperation moves where you just hope that all of these units from this opponent shoot at something else and you can just contest the zone. But the BVP is still in the zone. And we are at the moment in draw territory, and in 2 minutes the +4 should be able to give enough points for the victory for the blue side. So very well played by Jeremy. Even sends a BVP as support, as a leader in the north, to ensure he doesn't lose control over either of these zones. And I think he has simply too many units, as that Axis could still do something about it. Smoke play to prevent any long-range engagement. And the T-72 actually gets now hit by the HE bomber as well and goes down. So I don't see any chance now for Axis. There's no leader on the way for the south either. And in a moment he will have, Jeremy will have more than 100 points advantage. So it won't be a draw. Mortar keeps firing to smoke off this area. And this means the red forces have to push into the firing line of the blue player of Jeremy. And that's a GG. So we have a 1-for-1. Mount River went to Axis and Vertigo to Jeremy with a 1.2 kill ratio. Nicely played, as to be expected from Division 1. There were some mistakes, obviously, but that's also because the opponent just puts you under so much pressure that that's natural that you have some issues to focus on everything at the same time. The T-72 got a bunch of kills, so that was one of the hero units from this match, apparently. The other T-72, there were a lot of T-72s, obviously, on both sides, that did most of the work, as to be expected from these two divisions, that heavily focus on this meta tank, that's very liked, very much favored by a lot of players at the moment in the community, to be considered one of the strongest units. And it showed here in this match, I think, that this tank can be very efficient and very dangerous. So yeah, that was Jeremy versus Axis. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.